Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Morris. I'm the Director of Business Development for GTS Distribution and Gaming. We are here with another one of our retailer to publisher webinars, this time with Luke Otfinowski, who is from Portal Games US. Portal Games, as you know, has been around for quite some time doing amazing, amazing games between Robinson Crusoe and Imperial Settlers and so many different things that are great. We're going to talk about a couple of things today for Empires of the North. We're going to talk about the new expansion that is actually releasing tomorrow, which is Roman Banners that you may see on your screen right now. And we're going to talk also about a free demo that you guys are going to be able to get. So everyone who is here live is going to be eligible to get a free demo of the base game of Empires of the North. This is a very beautiful game from a color perspective, from a like pop off the table perspective. So even just having this game on display is really, really good for people to see. So that's a great opportunity. There's nothing that you as a retailer need to do about that. It's just as simple as we are taking, register information as you register for webinars and are here. And then we get that information over your sales reps and we get that free demo copy out to you. So that's great news and good stuff. And want to thank Luke and Portal Games for helping us support that as well, which is really good. As always, I always like to remind everybody, everything is on the table. So any kind of questions you have, feel free to go ahead and ask. You can hover over your main computer window and click on the chat bubble icon. You can send a message to either all the panelists, which are myself and Luke, or you can send a message to all panelists and attendees, which will get the message out to everybody who's on the call. But feel free to ask any questions you like along the way. I know Luke has some video stuff and some really cool things to talk about from retailer support. So I'm going to let my face that was made for radio shut up, and I'll let him take over for everything. So, Luke, I'll monitor the chat window, but the floor is all yours, my friend.
Cool. Sounds great. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So as far as the breakdown of what we're going to do today, first few minutes, I'm just going to talk to you about the Empires of the North line and the new expansion that's coming out tomorrow. While I have you on, it's a good opportunity to then address our keynotes. We just had PortalCon, which is our big convention, publisher-focused convention in Poland. And part of that convention, we did some keynotes about all the newest things we're releasing in 2020. So that's a good chance to discuss that. And I want to point you guys towards some resources as well. So first things first is talking about Empires of the North Roman Banners. So for those of you that aren't too familiar with our Imperial Settlers line, it is one of our three core evergreen lines: Robinson Crusoe, Detective, and Imperial Settlers. And Empires of the North is the newest standalone base game that we released last year. It has its first expansion already out, which is Japanese Islands. And this year we are continuing support for the entire Imperial Settlers brand with 4 new products, 2 of which are expansions for Empires of the North. One of which is an extremely exciting expansion for the Imperial Settlers base game. And this is the expansion. It's the first design by our new in-house designer, Joanna Kijanka, who has been helping Ignacy for the last few years on his designs as working underneath him. And this is her first breakout. And it is an expansion that changes the playstyle of the game. So we'll talk more about that maybe in the future when that's getting closer in Q2, Q3. But right now, Roman Banners is what we're focusing on. And also, if you notice this little cell phone here, in March, right around Gamma, we're actually launching the Imperial Settlers Roll and Write app. It's super fun to play. And any retailers that want to come by the booth, I can get you guys a little code that you can, on your flight home, you can punch in the code, get the app for free, and you can try it out. So Roman Banners is basically the second expansion. It adds 2 new ready-to-play decks. So now that brings up the deck count of unique factions up to 10. And while I'm talking here, let me get the video going so you guys actually have some visuals to kind of point you to. And just like Scott says, this is the artwork in Imperial Settlers has been taken up even another level with Empires of the North. Every faction has completely unique artist perspective, slight tweaks. Every card's got unique little gems hidden, and they really put in a lot of time on this. The gameplay is extremely varied. Each of the factions play differently, and Roman Banners is just the next in line to add unique new play style. So those of you who have played Imperial Settlers know that it is an asymmetric game, but with Empires of the North, since each of the decks are built already, and there is no deck building like in Imperial Settlers, we can really make sure that each of the play styles is really unique, which makes sure that each of these expansions have a place in the collection. I think my video froze potentially. Did it freeze on your end too, Scott?
A little bit, yeah, just at the end, but it was just the last second.
That's all right. So can you also see my camera, or are you just seeing the screen right now?
I see both. I see the screen and then got your little thumbnail as well.
So this is the box size, same as the Imperial Settlers expansion boxes. It is the exact same box size as Japanese Islands. And they do stand perfectly. Can't say it, but the seam on the bottom is not misplaced in a bad way, so it will be able to stand perfectly on a shelf. And this is the first of these expansions that we're doing for the year, with Roman banners, with Barbarian Hordes being the second one. So some information right here on the screen now for you as far as the sell sheet. You've got the $25 MSRP, the dimensions, case size. Anything else you guys need, please do pay attention to my email right here. You guys can take a note of it, luke@portalgamesus.com. You can reach out to me. And we have a lot of assets for you, including the video you just saw, 2 other videos, a bunch of other unique pictures, and I will make sure to show you guys where that is. We have an entire Dropbox folder for all of our games, and Ignace also releases a weekly update as far as the assets that the marketing team on our side is creating every week. So I guess now we can hop over to discussing a little bit about PortalCon, unless there's any questions about Empires of the North and Roman Banner, Scott, that you see on chat.
Nothing has come through on chat. Just so everybody knows, I did put into chat the SKU numbers for both Roman Banners and for the base game of Empires of the North, just in case anybody want to take a look at that. And just as a reminder, Roman Banners is releasing tomorrow. So if you had pre-ordered already, you probably already have it in your store, but there is still stock of it. So if you need to get more, let us know and we'll be happy to help you out.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, and important to mention that already some of the reviews have gotten their sneak peeks out, and this does have the seal of excellence from Z. That's no surprise. He absolutely loves this line, and he keeps saying that with Empires of the North, we've polished everything that he loved with 51st State and with Imperial Settlers base game. And now these expansions are just adding more and more content, and it's all just hits it out of the park. So good to hear. We were happy to see that. So keynotes. So this is basically everything that we covered at PortalCon. So just a little bit of overview. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but Robinson Crusoe, Detective, and Imperial Settlers. We're lucky enough that these 3 core brands have made their place as evergreen for us. If you do not have some of these titles in your store, I would recommend you bring them in. They perform exceptionally well across all channels. On the bottom, you have some of our other active SKUs. They perform well in certain channels, but for example, Nurishima Hex is extremely popular in Europe. I went to PortalCon and I saw the way they do the national tournament there with 20 tables, everyone's sitting over, focused. There's a scorekeeper and a timekeeper on the corner, big prize table, and first, second, third place trophies. It was incredible. Here, it doesn't have that pool, but on the other hand, Monolith Arena, which is a Nurishima Hex reskin for fantasy, it does a little bit better on this side. So this is just showing you kind of our active list. Detective, it is our big hit from 2018. And it is continuing to rise. It's solidified itself with an 8.0 on BGG. It's climbing the ranks. It's in the top 150 now. And this is good to bring up because one of the things Portal Games does well, for all of you that do know, is that we continuously support our products. So not just with Empires of the North, like we're doing with expansions that are constantly providing content, but for example, for LA Crimes now, we've released 2 free DLCs. So LA Crimes is, for Detective, we've released 2 free DLCs. One of them is for the base game and one of them is for LA Crimes. So the base game came out in 2018. There was a DLC for that. 2019, we released LA Crimes. Now we have Natural Causes, which was a free downloadable content for anyone that purchased the base game. And for LA Crimes, Under the Radar is what's coming out this next week for LA Crimes. 2020, we are continuing with the detective line. So detective is it's a heavier game, and Scott will vouch for that, that it is a game that requires you to really put in the time with a fairly dedicated group of people, take your notes. It's going to reward that immensely, and the reviews and the responses will prove that, but it is a heavier game. So Detective Season 1 is a standalone product that we are creating, which is detective mechanisms taken down a few levels. So 3 standalone cases, simpler cases. The rulebook has been sliced down to 4 pages, I believe, in this. A lot of mechanisms that increase the immersion, but maybe isn't what everyone's looking for. This game kind of takes out. It's just, it's a smaller price point, smaller box, same size box as these expansions for Empires of the North. So that is one way we're branching out the product, the brand in that direction. But then we also have Dig Deeper, which is a case from the Signature series designed by Rob Daviau using the detective engine. And it is really, it's heavy. It's got a lot of depth to it, a lot of history immersed, and it's dripping with theme. So we're continuing to focus on the core line, and we're also branching off in these 2 side channels as well. And the LA Crimes DLC Under the Radar is available next week. So anyone who purchased LA Crimes and finished that campaign, even though it's an expansion, will now be able to continue that storyline as well. So this is discussing Empires of the North, which, as we spoke about a little bit earlier, Empires of the North and Japanese Islands came out in 2019. Roman Banners is coming out tomorrow, and Barbarian Hordes will be probably around June. We're trying to get this through out of production right now, so it's safe for being a little bit later in the year.
One thing I wanted to hop in on, Luke, just real quick on the detective thing. I'm going to put it into chat as well, so everyone has kind of the skew and the notes on it. When Detective launched, there was a phenomenal demo kit that Portal Games put together. We do still have a few small amounts of those in our Jacksonville office and in our St. Louis office. So if anyone is near there and wants to get a demo kit of the game, it is absolutely phenomenal. And while Luke did say that the game is heavy, it's not really a complex game to understand. There is, just as you can imagine from it being a true crime type of thing, that there are a lot of details to kind of cover and go over. I've personally played through the entire base game of Detective, absolutely loved it. We just started LA Crimes. It's definitely, as Luke said, a thing that rewards you for putting in the effort with the group and the team that you work with. But if you do have anyone that's interested in putting a demo into the store, feel free. I'll put the SKU in there. It's actually really easy. It's just DTPRO. But I'll put it in the chat and you can check that out. Again, it's very limited quantities because it was something that was put out at the launch, but just something I wanted to throw out there in case any of the retailers may be interested in bringing in Detective and just wanted to get something a little extra for it.
And this is what the demo kit looks like. Everything you need to run the game is in here. You have the cardboard component cutouts in here. You've got a deck of cards. You've got everything you need to run. So you do not need to tear open into a base game. And Scott, we do have more of these available. So when you start running low, we'll just send you more. So, and yeah, this is a game that people are playing with their kids and their in-laws around the same table. So it is a game where everyone can play. It's just, you know, you need to be in the theme. You need to be willing to be a detective. So
you can even play with Alexa, which is pretty darn amazing. If no one knows that, you I don't want to get questions, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, you notice I have an Alexa right up here next to Monolith. I don't want to get too off topic, but Ignaz is a little sad that Ticket to Ride Asmodee beat us to it, because we've been working on Alexa with Monolith Arena since last year at Gamma. So it's almost ready to launch, where you'll be able to not even open up a rule book, and anytime you have rules questions or setup questions, Alexa will be able to tell you how to play it. So it's pretty exciting. I've been playtesting or finishing up the review of that. The roll and write, another thing, just talking about Imperial Settlers. These are all the different sheets we do a sheet for, so those of you who don't know, the Imperial Settlers roll and write takes the mechanisms of the Imperial Settlers world and the games, puts it into a roll and write, makes it a bit of a mid-tier roll and write, where you do have to manage resources and all of that, but it's a nice step for those that fell in love with roll and writes during this boom that we had last year and want to get into a little bit grittier one, we release a new unique sheet for download and play every single time we have an event. So here's an example that, for Halloween, there was an event for SN, for Gen Con. So we're constantly supporting this title, and you have a lot of unique sheets already in the game, but if you use up all of them, or if the gamer plays through all of them, then they'll keep getting new ones as well. So, and the Roll and Write app is also coming out in March. Like I said, so at Gamma, we are at booth 129. So please do come by. Please ask me questions. Any retailer actually in your Gamma coupon booklet, you will have a booklet for a free copy of the Roll and Write. We just ask you to come by and fill out a form for us, this communications form, answer some questions just to get us a better information about how to best work with you, and we'll send you on your way for free Roll and Write, and you can also get the app code so that you can download the app. Again, more Imperial Settlers is Rise of the Empire. So this actually changes the game into a campaign. It'll completely change the mechanism of the game, and it'll change it into a campaign that you can play with different people. You don't have to play with the same group. You're basically focusing on expanding your own world through the way you play the games and the technology you're developing as new opponents kind of arise in the world. So it's an extremely unique concept. I haven't played it yet, so I can't really speak too much about it. And we can easily get on another webinar in the future when we get closer to this release date. Robinson Crusoe, it's one of our other brands. And the thing that might interest you is Robinson Crusoe has a huge community of people who are absolutely crazy in love with this game. And we support that community by releasing promos quite often. And whenever we can, in the past, we've had event kits for stores where those promos were included. But we are releasing this year, the plan, it's formulating, and the sell sheets are almost ready to go out, a treasure box, which will basically be the promos of Robinson Crusoe available for retailers. So it'll be basically all of the Robinson Crusoe little mini expansions and promos and content into one SKU, into one box, into one packaging. And that'll be another way to kind of support this title. And that will be paired for also a Kickstarter for a book of adventures, which will then be available to retailers. But basically, these promo kits, boxes, are a way to kind of revitalize the brand a little bit more after the BGG, after the 8.4 rating success of the Mystery Tales, because this expansion has come out and has been extremely popular, but people always want those promos. They always want more. So that's everything I have as far as the keynotes. One last piece of sneak peek information for you guys is at the very end of the year, the Vienna Connection is coming out, which will be the next continuation of our product line for Detective. This is going to be a Cold War espionage board game. It's going to take the mechanisms, throw them into another direction, more new twists, more new mechanisms. People can't get enough of Detective, and we're trying our best to keep up with the demand and release more new products and content. But when you're writing these games, you're writing novels, basically, and then you have to gamify the novel and figure out how to connect things and how to make it an engaging way for people to play and discover things on their own without giving too much away too early. And if you were to see the trees of plot lines and connections and the card connections, it's a lot of work. So we're doing our best to come up with new content and keep up with demand. So Vienna Connection is the next thing coming out as far as for the big next expansion from Portal Games, with Rob Davies Dig Deeper coming out a few months before that. So that's everything I have to share. If there are any questions, I am here. And
is it possible that you can put the Dropbox link into
absolutely.
that?
Sure.
I know several retailers asked about that one, so I think that would be very good to have.
So basically, just to show you guys, this is what we have. It's called the Partners Dropbox folder. In here, you have our current titles, and my screen is struggling a little bit. If you want to give it a few seconds. Basically, what you have here is all of our current titles, our sell sheets, and a document with our current titles regarding everything you wouldn't have on a sell sheet. And as you can see, everything here is in Polish. So it's there you go, perfect. So for me, it's in Polish. You guys will have it all in English. I'm connected to the European Dropbox, so that's why. But
Luke actually speaks Polish too, so he understands what all that says.
You got to. It's a requirement for me.
Yeah.
So you've got all of our titles, the MSRP, the stock numbers. I've also got notes here all the way to the right about what's happening with the line, kind of all this current information for you guys. And then when you go in here, you have your sell sheets right here. And then if you go to all current titles, this is where you have all of our titles and the assets. So for Empires of the North, for example, and then you can go into Roman banners, and right here you've got videos, social media, the rule book, the photos, artwork, the images, everything right here. And Ignacy is the one who monitors all of this continuously. So what would be the best way? Do we have a chat that I can drop into everything here?
Yeah, if you just if you click on the chat bubble window, just make sure the drop down says all panelists and attendees. That way everyone can see it, and then you can just paste the link in there. I can also, if you want to email it to me, I can make sure to put it into the video description when we put this up on YouTube as well.
Yeah, so let me just drop the link right here. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of retailers who have been like adding more and more digital signage to their stores, even if it's just a simple, laptop connected to a, HD connection on TV and kind of looping YouTube or things like that. So anything like that is super helpful and something that I think helps a lot of people. Manuel asked a question. He said, I see that you mentioned a new game you have in Kickstarter. What we have seen is that people who buy Kickstarter games don't purchase in our stores and they tell their friends. So is there anything you do on Kickstarter for retailers?
The game or the Robinson Crusoe book?
Yeah, I think the book was the only one that you'd mentioned about Kickstarter, unless there was another one, Manuel, that you saw. I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, so that's not a game. Basically, what that is Robinson Crusoe is a game system. So it has scenario sheets. And what that book is, it's going to be a tome of all of the scenario sheets composed and put together. But that will not be, that'll be a product for the people who've already pretty much invested into a lot of the promo materials beforehand.
Okay.
I don't know the complete details yet. Ignacy and I haven't had a full brief on it, but those scenarios will be in the treasure box, which will be a SKU for retailers as well. I don't know if that answers your question, but we do have retailer pledges on our Kickstarters, but the strategy we have for Kickstarters, for everyone is aware, we're not focusing on Kickstarter. We're not really doing Kickstarter releases for our games. The only games we take to Kickstarters are the ones that Ignacy deems are passion projects. So for this year, we have a game about soccer, and this is a game that he says is a passion project for his, very niche, something that he wants to have a creative outlet that he doesn't have to be concerned about the print runs and all of that. It's kind of one and done, like we did with the re-release of Pret-a-Porter. One print run, that's it, one release, and we kind of move on. So
yeah, to my knowledge, none of your base stuff, right? Like none of the Imperial Settlers, none of the Detective, none of the Robinson Crusoe is really, this first book will be really the only thing on there. But like you said, that's more of a kind of a fan service to the people who've already, invested in the game already.
Yeah. The Pret-a-Porter campaign, the fact that we didn't use fulfillment centers and we shipped every single one individually from Poland at a huge cost, and we basically made no margins to that, shows that he said this is a thing for the fans. We just want to have it in their hands as fast as possible, and not really, it's not my business decision as is somebody who runs a business for him and looks at margins. I blanched, but it was his decision. So it's mostly just focused on the kind of passion project stuff, like like a game about soccer. And he really thinks that he's not going to sell 15 of these in the US. He says soccer board games aren't very popular. Right. That I don't know, but he's a pessimist. So.
Well, Manuel said thank you for clearing that up, and then Alex said thank you for not focusing on Kickstarter. It can be hard for retailers to sell games that were already on Kickstarter, with sometimes better components, sometimes in parentheses as well, of course. Yeah, just so everyone knows, we actually, GTS took a stance on Pret-a-Porter when we heard that it was going to be a one-time printing and done. So we actually still have stock of that game. We actually made sure to put a PO in for us to be able to get those, even though we knew it was going to be a very limited short time print run. So if you do have fans that are coming in looking for that game, or just are fans of Portal games, we definitely have, ability to get that to you as well, which is really good. And it looks like you just put in the Dropbox link. So that actually went to all the panelists. So let me copy it, and I will put
Sorry
it to,
about that.
oh, it's all right. I'll put it
You
to all.
literally told me not to do that, huh?
No, it's okay. It's tricky. It's got that little drop down thing there, which is kind of weird. So, but I tend to just put all my messages in the all panelists and attendees, because when you get into like one-on-one messages, it can get back and forth and all over the place. So, but yeah, that Dropbox is a great resource for any retailers that have any kind of digital signage in your stores, or like Luke had mentioned, there's social media stuff on there. If you want to go out and grab a couple of banners or anything for your own social media pages on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever the new TikTok thing or whatever everybody's doing nowadays. So that's all good stuff. So
and for everyone that will be at Gamma, please do come by. We have a new employee on trial for sales. I'm trying to do my best to keep up with everything for business operations. I can't give you guys enough time. So we're bringing somebody new on who has 10 years of retail experience. He's ran stores. He knows kind of the things from a different perspective than I do. And he will be there. You guys can meet him. We're thinking of launching some new products where we're supporting your purchases through distribution, where we can send things like a demo table that's marketed. You guys keep the shell, and then every year or every new release, we just simply resend a new skin. We're trying to figure out if that's something that retailers are interested in, because we know square footage is really valuable. So, the 2-week early releases for pre-orders, things like this. I'm sure you guys are seeing a lot of companies and a lot of publishers start doing these programs, and we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of that wave of publishers who are working with retailers, and the more feedback we have, the better. So if you come by the booth, it's booth 129 at Gamma, we'll be there, and you can always just reach out to me directly on email as well.
Awesome. I just put the booth number in there as well, so people can check that out. And just so everybody knows, again, as a reminder, if you're here live, you're going to be eligible to get a free demo copy of Empires of the North, the base game. And again, the Roman Banners is releasing tomorrow, February 20th. So if you've gotten your pre-orders in and already gotten your stuff and stocked up, you should have a great day tomorrow. If not, if you need more, just let us know. We're happy to help out. We actually have some nice advantages with Portal. Their main warehouse is very close to one of our main warehouses, so it's very easy for us to be able to pick up stocks or anything like that. So if you do run into any situations, maybe a local spoke warehouse like a Michigan or in New York may be out of stock, let us know. We're happy to get that stuff in stock ASAP for everybody. Derek just said, I know Luke's contact info was on a slide. Can you please re-show it or post it here? Yes, I can put that in there. It is luke@portalgames.us. And then Jasper asked, is the Barbarian Hordes open for pre-order? I don't believe it is set up yet for pre-order. Is that correct?
No, we do not have that finalized yet. We want to make sure that when we have the sell sheets out to you, that we have a very conservative street date that is not going to get delayed, and that everything is pretty certain that it will be coming out. In the past, when I started with Portal, there were some situations where, due to just various things that happened in the production cycle, things got delayed, and then that causes a lot of confusion. So for me,
no, nothing's delayed.
No, never.
That never happens.
Yeah. So one of my things with the company, when I say, is like, when we have information, I want it to be as certain as possible. And still early, which are the two things that are usually oxymorons, right? Early and as accurate as possible. But right now we're going to be getting the pre-orders. We're going to get the sell sheets out for Dig Deeper, which is a June release. And for Gen Con, as a little teaser for all the participants here, we do have a really unique product we're working on. Stay posted for Gamma. It'll be the announcement. It's extremely exciting. Portal Games has not released any product like this before. It's completely new for us in our catalog, but when the opportunity came our way, we had to jump on it. So I can't say any more than that,
I
But
don't even know anything about that. Now I'm excited too.
We will be announcing it at Gamma for the first time. Even at our convention, PortalCon, we didn't get to announce it because we were playtesting it in the back with the designer before he had to quickly run to his next project in a different country, undisclosed location. So you keep posted for that. You've got my contact information. And please, I know I say this all the time whenever I get to get the ear of a lot of retailers, but I do want to be a resource to you. So if there's anything you need, I know you have a lot of resources and it's hard to manage all of them, but hopefully at Gamma you can come by, fill out that form for us, please. One of the questions is, what is the best way you want us to contact you and work with you? The more information I have, the easier it'll be for me to get you the information you need without oversaturating you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Luke, thank you so much. Really do appreciate you bringing us all the information here. Like I mentioned, Imperial Settlers is one of my all-time favorite games of all time. So very much looking forward to the new stuff with the Roman banners and the other stuff you got going on for the rest of the year. Retailers, thank you very much. As always, your time is precious. And I know we've been doing more of these webinars. We've been doing about maybe 2 per week now. So we've had a lot more of your time and attention on these. So really do appreciate everybody who comes and joins these live. This will be posted later on YouTube, so we'll have that put out as well. So if you want to go back and check on anything or grab any additional information, you can. We'll make sure to post that Dropbox in there as well so that people can get to that and if they see the video and weren't here live. And your sales reps will be in touch about getting you the demo copy of Empires of the North. So thanks so much. Really do appreciate everybody's time. And until we see you next week, have a great time in your stores.